Did everyone get what they ordered for Christmas?
Yeah, the return some of the original.
They turned it already.
I know.
I think one of the coolest commercials that's on right now is where this mother's in the store with her son, and the girl that's working at the return desk is a nice-looking young lady, and he just kind of waves at her. Well, she bought a shirt for him that's way too big, so he'd have to take it back to her so he could, talk to her. I thought that was pretty cool.
Morning, Jim.
Hi, Jim.
I have 11.
I thought that was Troy.
My granddaughter got her very
How are you?
very important wish. She got one of her drawings for the second year in a row on the National 4-H calendar.
And I saw that. I picked up a calendar the other day, and then somebody pointed that out to me. Was Troy out in the parking lot?
We waited
I
until
didn't see him. I didn't lift my head up though either as I walked in. Focused on making it survival.
Are you scheduled for this?
What's that?
Are you scheduled to be here today?
First district, number 5. Yep.
Approved contract.
Figured I should be sitting here watching you out here.
Oh, that's right. You're not here to defend it if I get voted down.
Right.
It's 11 o'clock, so we'll get started. It's 11 o'clock. This is Wednesday, the 27th of December. This is the last time the board will be meeting for this calendar year, 2017, so it's been a good year. Went pretty fast. We'll begin the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. And Mr. Sutton, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance this morning?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Jim. With that, a couple of housekeeping chores. If you have a cell phone, mute it or turn it off. If you get a call that you need to take, just step out into the rotunda area so you don't disrupt the meeting. The meeting today is being streamed, so if you wish to address the board, you will probably be streamed. Is there anyone here in the audience today that would like to address the board during the open? Seeing none, then we would ask for a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda.
We have a motion by Hatton, a second by Commissioner Gable. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Approve the agenda.
Move to approve is emailed. The minutes, you mean?
The minutes, yes. The minutes of the December 19th meeting. We have a motion by Hatton, a second by Gable. Any additions or corrections? Seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We'll go right to monthly reports. So, Jim, get you in and out of here. Good morning.
Morning.
Morning, Jim.
You have a microphone for me this morning?
Oh, Troy's not here. Is that his
Keeper of the
drawer?
mic.
I'm going to have Debbie call and see if he's coming in.
I don't know where he keeps it.
Is it on the stand? It's on the stand. Okay.
Last place you look for, right?
It's in my area. Oh, it's just embarrassing. It's just talking.
There we go. Turn me on. Okay, I just have a couple of items this morning.
Baggers.
Begin with.
What do you need?
Sorry.
Are we ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Just a couple things this morning. Begin with the ICS 400 class that we hosted on December 9th and 10th. That went over quite well. We had 19 people that attended that training. On January 4th, I'll be attending the city department head meeting over at the city library. That'll be on the 4th. And then on Wednesday, January 17th, With emergency management, we're coordinating and hosting a hazmat class that'll be out of classroom B and C. We've got about 12 highway patrol officers that will be attending that, along with some more people from the community, too, from performance towing. And it'll be open if there's anybody else that's interested in attending that training. We can sure get them in on that on the 17th of January.
What time is that going to run from?
That starts at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
And then also on January 17th, I have a regional emergency management meeting up in Aberdeen that's scheduled, and I've got a travel request I'll give to Cindy, and then probably you'll be able to act on that next week or whatever, but that's for a regional emergency management meeting in Aberdeen. It starts at 1 o'clock that day. And on January 31st, I've got Sherry scheduled to go to what they call EM 101 class. And some of you may have attended that training already, but that's up in Aberdeen on January 31st, so she'll be submitting a travel request to attend that training. But that is a class they go over a lot of the disaster procedures and so forth, getting her trained and up to par on disaster procedures and so forth. So one of these days when I retire, folks, she'll be knowledgeable enough to, to do a lot of that paperwork. And that's all I've got for this morning, unless there's any questions.
Anything else? Yeah. Oh, just Happy New Year.
Yep, Happy New Year, and also I'd like to thank the Commission for all the support that you've provided the emergency management throughout the year, and look forward to another year.
Well, we
Thanks,
appreciate
John.
everything you and your crew does for us. We very much appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And Sheriff Brad just walked in, so front center.
Morning.
Good morning.
Morning, Brad.
How's it going today?
Good.
Oh, you didn't get the email? Okay. We'll hand them out here then. She's off this week, so that's probably why. This one's for Troy.
What'd you get with her?
Oh, Brenda needs one.
There you go. We'll start out with the monthly balance sheet there on the first page. The bank balance end of November 2017 was $7,470.02. Collected $16 in copy fees. We collected $6,514.52 in sheriff's fees. Collected $350 in warrant fees for a total of $6,880.52. You want to jump over to the next page there? What's that?
I put up last month's.
You want to put up last month's? Okay.
Just for comparisons.
I'll wait for you to get that pulled up there.
This was, why don't you go ahead, Troy?
All right, we'll get started here. You'll see if you can find it here. Our records gal wasn't in today, or this week, that's why you probably didn't get that email for this year. But the Sheriff's Office responded to, in November of 2017, responded to 538 cases and calls for service, responded to 22 accidents, served 65 warrants, 209 civil papers were served, and put on 4,469 miles in transport miles, for a total of 20 transports in November.
I got it up for.
You got it pulled up there?
Yeah, that's just for comparison's sake.
Okay.
So it goes up to last.
Yeah, November is not on that one, so if you want to scroll down, starting with average daily population in our jail for November was 68.63. Our high ADP for the November was 76, and that was on November 16th. Our low ADP was 66, and that was on the 9th. We had 34 people on the Scram bracelet, 100
Miles. Well, we're just getting,
health behavior transports, so somebody
And we
gets-
know those numbers are
Yeah.
up. Our Yankton
That
numbers
time
are
of
up.
season, it seems like there's a few more of those around the holidays.
I had 2 new ones today again on my
Yeah.
bill from, yeah.
45, but we're at about 45, 46, 69. That's, you know, that's a lot.
That's a lot of traveling.
Yeah, that's a lot of traveling.
Pick up on, Mr. Chairman, just to pick up on what you were asking. So with transport miles and going to Yankton, you know, that's a little bit up this month. So with House Bill 1183, and then, you know, being able to get some of that here, what's that, are we just not, is it just?
Try to get as many people as we can in that van, so make it most as cost productive as we can. If you want to jump on down to the bottom there, we'll talk about November. We collected $7,715 in out-of-county contracts. We collected $5,390 in work release fees, $4,380 in 24/7 fees, and $4,429 in Scram fees.
So work release fee now, Brad,
It's $20.
$20 a day,
$20 a day.
and everybody has to have the bracelet on, right? The tracking bracelet?
Yep.
And how's that working?
Working pretty good. It's working pretty good. Being able to help monitor. There are some areas that doesn't work 100%, but we're working through them.
Have you had anybody cut it off and skip the country?
We've have found a few people that have been going places that they're not supposed to have been, but it's been nice for that to help monitor different cell services. A lot of those GPS units run on cell service, so we have Verizon and AT&T. There's certain areas of the county that Verizon might excel, and there's some areas that AT&T might excel. So it's getting the right provider, the right GPS unit that works best for the county.
Brad, just as a reminder, those numbers that you just gave us add up to $22,307. Where does that money go, Cindy?
General fund to offset law enforcement costs.
Are we gaining?
Are we what?
Gaining?
No.
I just thought I'd ask.
No, it is not offsetting, but it is to support law enforcement costs, let's put it that way. It's definitely not,
It lessens the blow a little.
definitely not sustaining our law enforcement budget, which includes state's attorney, sheriff, and the detention center. So
But there is a...
it helps offset.
Yep.
It helps offset, but definitely does not cover, let's put it that way.
I just have one quick question, Brad. How long do you mentioned $20 a day for that GPS bracelet, for lack of my terminology. How many days do you let them go before, if they don't pay, before they can't leave?
We work with them pretty closely, and we work with their employer to make sure that the county gets paid. We also want that person to be able to have a job, because that's part of getting the person out there and being productive in society. So we work really closely with them. They're really, really good to work with.
So when they're done with the program, the balance is zero. Pretty close.
Pretty close. All right.
So, thanks.
Is that it, Brad?
Just wanted to touch base, a couple things. I've sent my sergeant to a couple trainings here this last,
Contract that we currently have with them, is that renewable with a 30-day notice, or is there anything? I can't recall just exactly what the what it says in the contract.
It's a yearly contract that.
That's a yearly contract.
Yeah, that we sign with them. And,
Yeah.
we have the right to refuse inmates.
Sure.
It opens County up to be able to have that, them permissions.
Do you know how we compare to Brookings and Minnehaha or
We're-
even Brown? Do they have a
I've checked with a
detention
few
center?
counties. There's a few
Okay.
counties that are around the 75, and there's some upwards to 105.
Okay.
So we're at the bottom of the spectrum where
Okay.
we're sitting right now.
Sure.
Minnehaha is close to 100, I know that. I checked on it before, and I can't remember where Brookings is.
Okay.
I think they're around the 80, 85.
I think that's what I want to say.
They don't normally house for other people, so they don't
Yeah.
worry about that. But
Yeah, there's a few that are lower,
Yeah.
but not many.
All right, good information, Brad. Any other questions for the sheriff?
Mr. Chairman, so when do we need to make that decision about raising the rate?
I want to wait until after the first of the year, or after we get the
Till we get
numbers
the
back
budget
from 2017
reports in
of how
and-
much we spent and get our final reports, so we can do that figure. As of November, we were at $66, so I just averaged out, between the 12 months.
Yeah, the law does allow us to put in, building depreciation and, recapitalization. So that's kind of what we've been thinking, and that's, it allows us to do that, so.
I should be able to have a firm number by next month. I know some of the counties have actually gotten a hold of me already in December, and they were kind of hoping for a contract to be sent out to them already. I told them I wanted to wait until the end of the year so we can get our final number of how much it actually costs the county to have the inmates, so we're not going backwards. We can actually, so.
Any other questions for the sheriff?
Just one.
Yes.
Lee, you brought up a very good point. The law allows us for capturing depreciation and stuff on a building. Do we do that on our present building? Figuring in that cost?
That's a kind of sort of thing. I think we need to maybe.
I think that'd be a good thing to look at.
Yeah, that's-
Right now, like say, what Cindy was saying, once we remit all these fees, they go to the county general fund, and then we'd have to budget, Milo, he's the facility manager, so he would budget for roof replacement or some things like that.
Because if we don't, we're not coming up with a true cost.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So that allows us to do that. So we, basically, I think the methodology has been to take the previous year's operational costs and then divide it by bed days. And that gives you, that's where you get your, $65 to $70 figure usually. So.
All right, good questions, good discussion. Anything else? Seeing none? Happy New Year, Brad.
All right.
Keep everybody safe on the road out there.
Was there an agenda item? Cindy, I didn't get a chance to see the agenda for vehicles.
No.
That didn't get on?
No, it did not.
There
I don't
is.
know in our discussions if I.
There is with the weed department. You want to swap it out?
We were having discussions about several different things, and
Okay.
I may have.
I'll just, can I throw it out there? We're
Yeah, give us a heads up.
beginning of the year, next year for 18, we budgeted for 2 new patrol vehicles. And I guess I just looking for permission to ask locally for bids, compare them to the state bid. I don't know if there needs to be a motion on that or not, but
You can make a motion on something like that. You're not spending any money,
not spending any money.
Yeah, you're just
Right.
getting proposals, which are gonna,
Get the
which will take further action.
I would make
so.
that motion
All right,
to
we have a
allow
motion by
Brad to
Hatton,
put it out to
second
local.
by Gable. And the motion is for Brad to just start getting bids, quotes
Local
put
dealers.
together. All in
From local
favor?
dealers.
Local dealers is what he
Yep.
said.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Thank you, Brad.
all right, thanks.
Thanks, Brad.
All right, let's
Sorry,
go on to
Brad.
number 5, action to approve a contract with First District. And we got Luke out of bed early so he could be, it's 11 o'clock, isn't it? Yeah, interrupted his after or mid-morning break here. And that contract is in your packet, and I had a chance to review it, and it looks very much like the one that I looked at last year. The only question that I have is on the second page on compensation where, we're okay. But I saw 2 different numbers, but the 650 was for mileage.
That's right.
Yeah, so I'm fine there. It's on the other contract that I had a question. All right, go ahead, Luke.
So I'll just point out Luke Muller, First District, and zoning officer for this year. This is the time of year where we'll come back and first thank you for the last year as having the opportunity to serve as zoning officer out of our office, and hope that agreement can be extended for another year as we've been doing now since 2004. You remember 2004, this whole thing started where we had agreement between the city and the county and trying to work on having someone in there with a little more expertise and time frame and making sure that the ordinances were followed and enforced, and here we are 13 years later asking to do the same thing again. So the agreement's worked out. We really haven't changed anything. I believe it's the same agreement we've had now for 3 years in a row. This will probably be the fourth. The only thing that changes is we use the federal mileage rate right now for reference sake. I think that it's slated for the first quarter to be 545, but federal mileage rate on any mileage out there. The only thing that we've really changed over the last handful of years provides for a minimum of 500 hours. Maximum cap is intended to be 600 hours. Of course, as things arise and we need to spend more time, we do that. This was one of those years, as we have, I believe I was somewhere in the neighborhood of 700 hours. No small coincidence, we had 120 hours that were specifically devoted to our vote that we had back in March. So thinking back over the last year, we've lived a lot of zoning life in the last 12 and a half months. And I have, over my last, as far as the contract goes, it should, if it's okay with you, that's what we plan on doing. I will kind of tell, we're still budgeted. This is what we had budgeted for within the budget. I'm expecting there will probably be some increase at some level in my budget for next year, though I've kind of been thinking that for the last 2 years, so eventually that's going to happen. I don't know when, though.
I'll make a
surprise.
motion to
I have a motion by
approve this
Hatton
contract.
to sign the agreement. Is there a second?
I'll second.
A second by Gable. Any discussion?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, so the contract amount, that has not changed, is what you're saying, and just the mileage amount is what?
Yeah, the only thing, and realistically, the mileage amount doesn't change either. It's just that we use a base. The mileage cost, not to exceed $650, that's the number that they really want to hone in on. We use federal mileage rate, and then I just use parenthetically what it is right now. It can change as it goes, so.
Yeah, you have the 500 to 600 window with going through the ordinances this year. That might take up some time.
Yeah, and I should point that out. As we do that, I will point out, we keep a separate log as far as what goes on specifically related to zoning ordinance stuff. So like, I'm glad you mentioned that. So when we put together the presentation we had, like where Todd came and spoke last time, or when we just sat down and put together those questions, we analyzed those. We're not billing those back to the county. That's something we would do regardless of whether or not we had this contract with you or not. If you wanted us to help you with the zoning ordinance, we'd do that anyway. So as we do that, the other thing, like the time where we had the meeting with Department of Environment and Natural Resources come out with that meeting, all the organization of that time and setup of that, I didn't bill back to the county. I did for being zoning officer, having to sit there, but I'd have had to have anyway. Or the zoning officer would have had to have done that anyway. But yeah, as we put this together, and any time I'm spending on any drafting and anything like that, we're not going to bill back to the county. It was a good question, though. We hopefully the time on the administrative side of trying to talk through that sort of thing is behind us, and now I can kind of split the part that I would normally do with any other county in this part.
Those hours fall under our First District contract.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay.
Well, any other questions for Luke? The only thing I have is on behalf of the board, I just want to thank First District for all the work that they do for us. It's good to have someone like you right here that we can lean on, and as you know, you're on speed dial on my phone. And I did get a letter today from your competition. You can look at it. I dug it out of the wastebasket, so I just thought I'd share that with you. We have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Thank you, Luke.
Thanks, Luke.
Happy New Year.
Thanks a lot. Happy New Year.
All right, Steve, he's got some quotes for a new vehicle for the weed department, and he's not going to share with the sheriff's office, so. And there's a list in your packet which pertains to that. It's got a list of his wish list and then some quotes from some different dealers, so go ahead, Steve. And it's on, it was up here a little while ago.
Yeah, I gotta, every time it shuts off, you have to reconnect. Okay. If most of you have the front list and some of that, this is the list that I actually give to the, for the quotes from the local vendors. And down below, you can see where here, these are added things that I changed from what the state bids were. And so I had added a couple things, changed a couple things. And then on the second page is the quotes. And from those quotes, I got from Watertown Ford Chrysler, the Dodge Ram 2500, $30,076. From the Ford, $32,008.
Can you hit your button again? Mine took over for some reason.
Okay. I think I gotta.
Or we can just pass out the paper.
As he's looking for his spot,
TV go out now? No.
this would be out of his 2018 budget. He has it budgeted, and he did budget $32,000. So just to give you an idea where we're at.
Technology.
It was still.
There we go. We're back. Yep, then Sharp give a bid or a quote and stuff for $34,916. Did not receive anything from Shoe Guards. Below that is the state bids. Wagner Auto for the Dodge Ram. They are at $29,988, but the list of the alternator, sliding rear window, the seats, the remote start, and the mud tires are not in the state bid for them. Which equivalently basically is less than $100 difference, and so that from Wagner, and then from Lamb, the Ford, is at $31,409, and those the list below with the alternator, sliding rear window, and the seats. And being from local and so that, my request would be is to accept the Dodge from Watertown Ford.
All right, and as I said before, Steve has this budgeted into the 2018 budget, which he had budgeted $32,000, so we're within the budget. I'll entertain a motion. We have a motion by Commissioner Waterman, a second by Gable, to accept the quote from Watertown Ford for the Dodge Ram, the 2500. Any more discussion?
Dodge Ram 2500, but the amount is $30,000.
Yeah, it's, what did I say, 2500 or what?
You said the model number. I just don't want people to get confused.
Oh, the model number.
Yeah, you said that.
The model number is 25. That's a heavy duty or 3/4 ton is what that
Correct.
amounts to.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just want people.
Any other discussions? Seeing none, all in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Same sign, motion carries. Thank you, Steve.
You lost your connection again. I
Yeah, of
gotta
course.
figure that out. You gotta figure that out. So it's just sensitive to the
atmospheric something.
No, it's $30,076.
$30,076, yeah.
Copy.
Okay, let's go on then to item number 7, action to recommend for 2018 compensation package for non-union county employees. Again, that's in your packet. It goes through recommendations from our HR director, Satterley. Have you all had a chance to review it? Everybody have a chance to review it? There was one, and if you, I don't know if it went out on the email, that one change that,
Oh, on the sick leave?
Yeah.
It just should not be sick leave bank.
Yeah.
That's a whole separate thing from individual employees' sick leave.
if you have a copy, it says bank on it, just scratch the bank.
Yeah, I think I got everybody's switched out.
Are there any questions? I'll entertain a motion to accept this.
So moved.
We have a motion by Gable, second by Hanton. Discussion? Any discussion?
So basically, his recommendation is the same that was
For the 2 unions.
provided to the 3 unions. 1.5% cost of living increase to each base salary on our step and wage schedule, extending vacation. Previously, our vacation went years after year 11. You accrued 12 hours of vacation per month. That's been extended for anybody who's employed 20 years and beyond. Will get 14 hours of vacation. It increased the amount of sick leave an employee can accrue to 1,200 hours, and increased the longevity schedule for those who have been here over 25 years in the same manner as the unions received.
And this is, we have 2 of the 3 unions have agreed on this. Do I have a motion
We have a motion and a second.
and a second? Any more discussion? Anything else? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. All right, let's go out to Memorial Campground. Milo, you want to come up? And that agreement is in your packet as well. I did have a chance to go through it, I thought, pretty thoroughly. And again, I think it's pretty much like the one that we have last year, or this 2017. The only question that I have, and that was the one that, under number 4, the compensation, the payment, well, the $15,195, but if you take the payments,
I did correct those contracts. Somebody else caught that.
Oh.
So it got changed to, what is it, Milo, 15?
$15,453.36.
Yeah,
Right.
I did catch that after I sent it to you guys.
Okay.
And I based those amounts in anticipation of the 1.5% that was coming to the board, so,
there you go, just proves the point. I was reading my minutes, reading my notes.
Thank you.
Doing my
Very
homework.
good.
Yeah.
How about that, Milo?
I'm
Go ahead.
impressed.
Yeah.
So this is basically the exact same contract we've had for a number of years, with the exception of the compensation, which was raised accordingly.
Any questions?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I have a motion by Hatton, second by Gable.
Yeah.
Any questions? Charlie, you're scratching your head pretty hard there.
No questions,
No questions, okay?
but thank you.
Yep. Seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries, and
Okay,
I want
thank you.
I want you to extend to our managers out there, thank you for the good job that they have done. We increased the occupancy, and we like to see that.
I will leave that contract with the auditor's office, and I'll have them come in and sign it and have it notarized here.
And
All right, thank you.
when we say them, let's attach a name.
Tom and Sharon Sauer.
Tom and Sharon Sauer. They're our managers, they co-managers, husband and wife out at the park, and we appreciate all they do and the services they provide to all of our campers. Thank you, Milo. Happy New Year.
Oh, just one more thing, Milo. Did they put the new sign put in?
I have not been out there to see. It was scheduled to be done last week, and I can't answer if it was done yet or not. I haven't been out to take a look.
Happy New Year.
Thank you, Milo. Number 9, discussion of possible action to amend the CCJAC to establish a city liaison, and that explanation is in your packet as well. It's in pretty fine print, but I did have a chance to review it. Lee, take it. What do you want?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So yeah, what's in your packet is the old CCJAC charter that we adopted back in 2015, and just inserting a paragraph under the membership, or inserting like a subparagraph under the membership section that would read thus: liaison with the City of Watertown. To kind of be included in the composition of the committee, the City of Watertown is invited to designate up to 2 city council members as liaisons. These liaisons may participate in CCJAC meetings in a manner similar to non-voting members. So that's the insertion, so that's my motion, is to insert that into the CCJAC
To
charter.
amend the resolution 2015-4.
Yeah,
Correct?
okay, that would be, I guess that's
Okay.
the proper way to word it.
You've heard the motion from
Second that.
Commissioner Gable, second by Commissioner Hatton. Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman, if I could elaborate
Yes.
on it. So as we've probably been hearing in the news, we've been hearing about the city is still thinking about their possible future city hall or some kind of administrative building, and still thinking about the auditorium parking lot. So, and as we all know, that we talked about putting the jail there in June of 2017 when we proposed it to the voters. So as we go forward and figure out what we're going to do next, this conversation has to be part of, this discussion with the city has to be part of that process. So this is just a way to encourage that discussion. This would kind of formalize the city's opportunity to come in and listen to what we're doing as a county as we discuss our justice facilities, and it would also allow them to participate in this meeting so they could ask questions. So the idea is that they participate as a non-voting member. So, and I know a couple city council people have been interested in doing this, and it gives them the opportunity. So that's and we've touched base with the city on this one as well.
Just for clarity, the city will make those appointments.
Yeah, exactly. So and that's kind of the way that the whole charter works. So if you have somebody from an outside agency, say the Third Circuit, Third Judicial Circuit, they're the ones who appoint the judge that sits as a non-voting member on this committee. So yeah, that's it in a nutshell, I think.
Is the idea of 2 rather than just 1,
Well,
so
it's
that at least 1 will show up, or?
Well, I think we want to give as much opportunity as we can, so we don't want to overdo it, but I think up to 2. That's so simply what it says. And I know
Do you want that to read up to 2, or?
it does say that. It does say
says
that. It does say
Okay.
that, yeah.
That's what I said, the print was pretty fine, so
Okay,
I may have missed that.
Yeah, when you do track changes, it shrinks it all down. So.
All right, you've heard the motion, you've heard the discussion. We have a motion on the floor. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. And Lee, will you contact the city then?
Yeah, I'll let them know, yeah.
All right, thank you.
And I'll get you a cleaner copy with the changes accepted in there. So.
All right, let's go to number 10, action to designate future building funds. We have that opportunity to designate building funds. Cindy, take it from here.
This is something the Department of Legislative Audit requires that we do every year. Last year, we designated, I had that pulled up here and then I took it off. We designated $5,710,000 for future building funds. We are using $1,377,000 of those funds are planned for use, budgeted for use in 2018 for the courthouse remodel project, which will leave $4,333,000 in that designation. And that will leave our general fund surplus cash at 35%, which is under the 40% that we are allowed by statute.
So that's if we don't designate anything for the future building projects
Right.
fund.
If we do not designate anything for future building funds, our surplus is at 35%. So I just need a motion to basically reassign those future building projects monies to at an amount of $4,333,000.
All right,
Make
you
that
heard the
motion.
explanation.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Hatton, second by Waterman. Any more discussion?
Just, Mr. Chairman, just
Yes.
a question for the auditor. So how much is actually in the unprogrammed surplus?
$4,351,271.83 is what makes up our 35% surplus cash.
And the max that the law allows, just for everybody's clarification,
Is
is 40%.
40% of the 2018 budget, which I had that, it was like 4.9 million is what we could have.
And is there a, say if later on, I wouldn't imagine it would happen next year, but does it have to be the last meeting of the year where you designate, say if we decide we don't need 40% or 35% and we can make use of that?
It does need to be the last meeting of the year because that's when I know what our surplus, where we're sitting at, based on the revenues that come in December and the expenditures in December.
Right, okay.
So yeah, those are the figures that I need is estimated revenues and expenditures for December before I can make that judgment.
Could I get you to repeat that surplus cash amount again?
$4,351,271.83.
That's
Thank you.
unprogrammed, or is that the?
That's the unassigned.
Unassigned.
That's the unassigned, that would be, the
35%,
That's the
yeah.
35%, correct. Yep.
So that's essentially, that's like the county's catastrophic reserve is essentially
it's our-
what that becomes.
Yes.
Surplus cash.
Yeah, surplus cash.
Okay, good discussion. Any other questions for Cindy? Anything else? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Go on to number 11, action to approve claims for payment.
We have
a
two
couple.
claims.
Yep, and they're in your packet.
Actually, there's only one in your packet because one of them just came in this morning. It's the one I've been waiting for the election budget. So we are going to pay for those new handicap touchscreen voting machines. The other one we have is our monthly 911 surcharge. These are October collections. And per your new contract, this goes all to the city of Watertown. It's $22,794.71. And then the amount for the touchscreen voting machines, which we are required to have by federal law, is $27,040, and that was for 8 of those machines.
Move to approve those claims.
Second.
We have a motion by Hatton, second by Waterman. Any discussion?
And this is use of the commissioner's contingency that we transferred after we came back from the state conference to get these all done at once.
And it's mandated that we do it. And we just took an opportunity to do it early because of a good buy.
Yes, yeah, if we buy now, we get a lower price through the state's contract, so.
All right, we have a motion on the floor, a second. Any more discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Number 12, action to transfer commissioner's contingency.
I have nothing for 12, 13, or 14.
Life is good. If you look behind the scenes or between the lines, that means that everybody was within their budget.
Yes,
And did we have any surpluses turned back in?
yes,
And
yeah.
that's just, I just want the people to understand that we're so grateful to have our department heads watching their budgets and riding herd on those babies and turning the money back at the end of the year, and we appreciate that very much. So thank you to all of our department heads and departments. Appreciate that. We have a couple of travel, 3 of them now. Can we act on the one that Jim had?
we can.
We have 3 of them then. Go ahead, Cindy.
The first 2 are for the Weed and Pest Department for Mr. Mollengrath. Oh, they're both for him. Mr. Mollengrath to attend an ornamental and turf recertification, and then to work the Sioux Falls Farm Show. I don't know if you want to explain what that ornamental and turf recertification for weed sprayers. Okay.
In order to maintain a commercial license.
Required every 2 years.
Okay.
Recertified.
Okay. And then the third one is for Emergency Management, Jim Sutton, to attend the regional meeting that he spoke about in Aberdeen.
Move to approve those
We have a
travel
motion by Hatton,
requests.
second by Waterman. Any discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Do we have any old business to bring before the board this morning? It's still morning, isn't it? Oh yeah, we're good. Any old business? All right, is there any new business? Any new business?
Mr. Chairman, just probably within the first week or so of the year, Commissioner Hanton and I will be meeting with a few of the city councilmen to begin to discuss how we want to frame this discussion. Part of it is having them as liaisons to the CCJC, as we talked about, but we're also going to probably want to talk about that more specifically, as how we cooperate with the city as we plan out future infrastructure for both jurisdictions. So that's kind of the gist of it. So we kind of have to sit down and figure out, like, how do we want to talk about this? What kind of format?
Be sure and keep us in the loop on how that's going, what's happening there. Anything else? Any other new business? How about open? Anything for the open?
I don't have anything that I can think of that there might be a quorum of us.
Just,
at.
Mr. Chairman, so I'm going to be on the road next week on the 2nd, January 2nd, so I can either call in or
Maybe we should just, let's just discuss that just briefly. Lee will be gone next week, which is the day after, well, it'll be January 2nd. And there are 5 Tuesdays in January. It makes absolutely no difference to me if we don't meet next week and meet that 5th Tuesday, or if we go ahead and meet. I hate to do this very often.
Well, the problem is Troy's not here either, and that
We have too many things that very first meeting to leave it go till the next week, I think, too, maybe.
I think I'd agree with Brenda on that. We've got a lot of things get started.
So we could meet, we'll meet next Tuesday, and if you can phone in, Lee, that'll work fine. All right. So our next meeting will be January 2nd at the normal 9 o'clock time. Is that all right, Cindy?
Yeah.
It's the day after New Year's, so
we need doesn't need a streamer.
we'll be ready to roll. All right. I have not
Troy, I think.
had any requests for any executive session.
Make
Is
a
there any
motion that
requests
we,
now?
make a motion we adjourn.
If not, then I have a motion to adjourn by Hatton, a second by Gable. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Happy New Year, everyone. Have it safe and Happy New Year. Get a designated driver.
So I'll bring these things in to you and sign. To notarize? Okay. All right. Okay, I can have her do it.
Troy apologized. We had some discussion on Wednesday or Thursday, and he thought it was Thursday. So, yeah, he apologizes for not being here.